My name is Jamie Stanislawski, and this is my final project for EDTC 625, and it's based on the fifth discipline by Senge, and I wanted to focus on something that was always coming back in my mind as I was reading the book and thinking about what I've done over the course of the year and reflecting on the projects that I've submitted. And it was a recognition of the simplicity and rewards of big ideas and collaboration. I know that in my workplace and even in school and in everyday life, people see these things that occur every day as such huge problems and things to overcome, but very rarely you're thinking about the big picture and where this one thing, or how this one thing will affect something 10 days from now or even a year or two from now. Because everybody wants immediate gratification or satisfaction or feedback. And it's hard because I think we've grown up in a society that needs that immediateness. And so reading this really opened up my eyes to what can very simply be such a huge step in the right direction if we just take a step back, break everything down, break down our barriers, break down what we truly believe is important today, and start looking at not only tomorrow, but at an even further future. So what does it mean? I think the breakdown of the different disciplines make a lot of sense, and it makes it very easy to understand such a complex idea as systems thinking. If you were just presented with the idea of systems thinking, probably be a very difficult thing to grasp all at once. But in the breakdown of personal mastery, mental models, shared vision, and team learning, you see the interchangeable relationships that each one of them have, but also each one of them brings such a strong piece to the puzzle that is systems thinking. Personal mastery is the human face of change. Managing relationships sensitively, being brave enough to have our own beliefs and values challenged, and to ensure the interactions and behaviors are authentic, congruent, and principled. That to me is, I think, probably going to be the hardest thing for anybody to overcome, because it's very difficult to put everything out on the table and to be prepared to have somebody put down or challenge something that you truly believe in. At that moment, you see a lot of people shutting down immediately and never defending what they think is right or what they believe to be true, because there's just that fear of not being accepted or acknowledged. Mental models, getting in touch with the thinking that's going on in your workplace. Something about the mental models that really stuck out to me was the reframe right here. I had done a lot of reframing over the past year on not only my students but some coworkers, and it was difficult at first because it's an art almost. But in the long run, if you understand the process of reframing and you truly think about every situation that you're in, the results are always positive. A shared vision. Everybody wants a shared vision, and especially in education, it's difficult to see that. The nature of the field is becoming very competitive, and people are being judged on their performances, so it's creating a lot of conflict, and it's creating a lot of tension and adversity. So I think that's something that's going to be difficult for people to grab onto also. Team learning. This is something I'm very familiar with, not only within my department, but within my district, and I try to encourage it and really embrace it in my classroom, because I think it's really important that people understand that you can learn so much from one another once you just try to stop acting like you know everything. And then the systems thinking, of course, is the framework for seeing all these things. and finding almost what is not working rather than trying to see what is working, because that's when you start creating, and that's when you start developing and inventing. Integrating it into education could be a challenge, but I feel that it's only difficult if we push against it. You will find people who push against every idea that you present, but it's about standing strong and really trying to show whoever you are presenting to, show your peers and show your students, show everyone around you that you truly do believe that this can work. And emotionally, they'll see the time that you've invested and the truth that you have behind your argument. People will start to support you. And the opportunities are everywhere. There are so many ways that we can use these kinds of models in professional learning communities, during professional development days, during regular faculty meetings, and then when we bring it into the classroom, giving students ownership of some of their work, asking them, what do you want to learn? What do you want to take away from this lesson, instead of constantly just bulldozing them with facts and things that we're telling them that they have to learn. Maybe they want to learn other things and we're not giving them time to grow and explore and discover and create. These are 3 things that I find very important. Right here. It's a trust issue. And in education, we have to learn how to trust one another with all these crazy things that have gone on with unions and merit pay and SGOs and new ways for evaluations, and it's a lot. And I feel as though the more it gets pushed into our everyday lives and in work, the more we begin to distrust one another, because we're not sure whether or not someone is supporting us or whether or not they're just trying to get in our job. So trusting your peers is a major thing. You have to trust your peers. You have to believe that your coworkers want to help you. If you show that you trust them, there's no negative energy coming off of you, and they, in turn, will eventually have to trust you, because they would have no other choice. This is also kind of ties into the whole reframing thing. When you get into the classroom, you have to start to learn to trust your students. They are there, they want to learn, and they want to be challenged. We are not challenging them enough if we just stand up there and lecture to them for 45 or 82 minutes if you have a block schedule. They don't believe that you trust that they know what they're doing. So give them that power. And also, trust in your own abilities. That's so important. Know that you're good at what you do. Know that what you're doing has a greater purpose, and that you do see the bigger picture down the road. You're not just doing some monotonous task and small grammar, small vocabulary, small reading just to get through the day and make fillers just to fill up your lesson plans, because that's not what we're here for. The disciplines are connected, they embrace one another, and they all have their own separate roles. And without each one working, we can't create this circle that encompasses all, and that's systems thinking. We need all of it. We need these 4 things to work out. So now let's get specific into each of the different disciplines. So let's start with personal mastery. It's a self-awareness. Do we really trust ourselves enough to be honest with each other and be honest with ourselves about who we are as people? These 3 over here. Creative tension. Sometimes you never want to approach somebody with an idea because you feel as though you'll offend them. You don't want them to think that they don't know what they're doing, but you have ideas. Once you decide that your ideas are valid and you know that it's because you want to bring something positive to the table, that kind of wall is going to be broken down. But it's important that you're in an environment where somebody else who you're approaching feels that way too. And these are the kind of barriers that I think that we face in the workplace and in the classroom. Personal vision. You need to have one. What do you want to gain? What do you want to see produced? What do you want to see created by the environment that you're giving to somebody else, such as your students in your classroom? What do you see as a goal, a long-term goal? Commitment to the truth. Don't lie to yourself. Don't lie to other people. Because eventually it's just going to be a web and you're going to lose focus of your vision. You're going to lose sight of it. And that's exactly what you don't want to do. It's going to be a breakdown right in the beginning and you'll never get to be a successful person. The reframe. If you can take any situation that has a chronic behavior problem, where there is a chronic behavior problem, and you can look at it objectively and find something positive, then that will set the pace for a reframe. For instance, if you have